coming up on Marriage Today with Jimmy and Karen.
When we got married and we would talk about money, Karen called me a spendthrift and I called her a tightwad. That's why we couldn't talk about money, because we judged each other so much. And when she called me a spendthrift, my blood pressure would go up. And I hated her to say that. And I said, Karen, you're kind of one of those women, you're going to die with all your money in your mattress and nobody will like you. And she said, you won't have the money to get a mattress. And I thought, ooh, good under us, good. So we couldn't talk about it. But listen to me. It's just the way I see money. It's just the way she sees money. A married man, a married woman, or children with their parents intact, they have a better chance of financial wealth than anybody else on earth. It's just proven. And so wealth has a real blessing to it when it comes into marriage and we can handle it. However, the number one reason people list is why they're divorcing is money problems. It's a two-edged sword. It has tremendous power of blessing if we know how to handle it together in marriage, but if we don't, it causes tremendous stress. And Karen and I, this was the radioactive issue in our marriage. By radioactive, I meant somebody's going to get hurt. Is we could not talk about money. You know, money happens all the time. That's the problem with it. It's not one of those things that happens every now and then. Money happens all the time. It's real. There's a demand on our life for us to have money and to spend money, and especially for the essentials of life. We were broke, number one. We did not know how to handle money, and we didn't agree on it, and so we couldn't talk about it. We couldn't talk about money. And so we just had this incredible stress within our lives, and money was really, it was the most painful, most frustrating subject in our marriage. Today, it's a huge blessing. And so we know what it's like to be broke. We know what it's like to live hand to mouth and month to month, week to week, paycheck to paycheck. We know exactly what it's like. But we also know what it's like to be blessed and to be able to talk about money without any sense of anxiety whatsoever. Now, most of us think this is $100, and no, you cannot have it. That's a $100 bill. See, we assume when people look at money there, Benjamin Franklin, we assume that everybody sees the same thing, but they don't. And I read an article, now I'll tell you about Karen and I in just a minute, but when you look at this money, you see different things than your spouse does typically. You're seeing something different. Kenneth Doyle, financial psychologist at the University of Minnesota, he published a report and he talked about the 4 money languages that we could have more than one money language, but typically we have a dominant money language. And here are the 4 money languages, according to Kenneth Doyle. Number 1 is driver. To a driver, money means success. When a driver sees money, now there's no right or wrong answer. It's just the way we see money. To a driver, this just means success. It just, money protects against the fear of incompetence. The more money they have, the more competent they feel. Kind of a self-esteem kind of a deal. Right or wrong. Number 2 is an amiable. Money means love. Relationships and people are the focus of their financial desires. Money means love and affection. Lack of money means losing the ability to express love. Number 3 is analytic. Money means security. It wards off chaos and problems, and these people are very well structured and well planned. Number 4 is expressive. Money means acceptance and respect. Money purchases the respect and admiration of others. Money means acceptance and provides a basis for a relationship with desirable people. And so, again, there's no right or wrong answer. We are born with this in us. We look at money a certain way. Karen is an analytic, and I'm an amiable. To Karen, money means security. She is a very good person with money. She's very thrifty. She always was. When we were dating and we first got married, Karen was very thrifty with money. But to me, money means love. When I have love, when I have money, I just love to, express, affection toward, whoever it is around, my family especially, Karen and my family. So when we got married and we would talk about money, Karen called me a spendthrift and I called her a tightwad. That's why we couldn't talk about money, because we judged each other so much. And when she called me a spendthrift, my blood pressure would go up. And I hated her to say that. And I said, Karen, you're kind of one of those women, you're going to die with all your money in your mattress and nobody will like you. And she said, you won't have the money to get a mattress. And I thought, ooh, good under us, good. So we couldn't talk about it. But listen to me. It's just the way I see money. It's just the way she sees money. Well, here's the issue, and that is, if you're both the same, you actually have the same strength, but you have the same weakness. You're better if you're different. See, with Karen and I, we've been married so long, we think alike. And so I'm very conservative financially. Especially the older I get, I think like Karen thinks. But she also thinks like I think. And I said one time, the family is safer because of her. It's funner because of me. Karen doesn't like me to say it. And she's very fun, and she's also a very generous person. She's a huge giver and taught me to give. But the point is, we make better decisions when we make them together. And when we're having a conversation related to money, I know immediately that Karen is going to be conservative. I know that she's going to want to conserve money because to her, that's security. Now, her security is in God. She's a woman of God. She's not a worldly, money-loving kind of a person, but she's conservative financially, which I always thought she's a tightwad. And I need to pry it out of her tightwad little fingers. That's my mission in life, is to get money away from the sister. And I would say that for many years, Karen and I would talk about money. I wanted to enjoy each other. I wanted to be with my family. I wanted to do something with people. That's just the way that I'm wired. And it's not saying Karen doesn't want to, but she will conserve for a long time before she's willing to. But the point being today, we don't have a problem in this area because we respect each other, but before we just judged each other constantly, is called each other names, and went to extremes. All money languages have a weakness. A driver may have an overdependence upon money for his or her security and self-esteem. An analytic may be well structured, but insensitive to the needs of people and the voice of God. Money can become God to an analytic, and they can be very insensitive to people around them. An amiable, like me, may be kind and generous, but a poor money manager who is unprepared for the long term. If both people in the family are amiable, you probably don't have a lot of money. You're probably very well liked and broke. Expressive, maybe someone who uses money the way some people use alcohol, to hide their fears and insecurities and to deal with their pain. And so, I have a weakness in my money language. I just admit it. Is I am amiable, which means I see money in a certain way. I need an analytic around me, and thank God I have one. And so life is better when you have someone to balance you. And by the way, if you both have the same money language, get help. Find someone, a friend, a financial counselor, someone who can speak into your life from a different perspective, and it really will bless you. But honestly, a lot of you are different. And let me read this last part here because I don't want to leave this out. We can all say I love you in different ways. Let's listen to this one. An analytic communicates love by saving. These are your irritating relatives that give you savings coupons for Christmas. And you're thinking, I don't want savings. I don't want a savings bond. I don't want a savings account slip. I want cash. Any part of cash you don't understand? I want a new iPod. They say, no, here's a $50 savings bond. Analytic. Amiable. Communicates love by sharing. I'll give you cash. You want me and your family. Driver communicates love by showing. Look at the new house. Look at the new cars. Look at the trampoline. Look at the things that I got for you. An expressive communicates love by spending. They'll go out and spend, and they think in the process they're going to give you better clothes. They're going to give you something that will make you in with the group of people that you want to be a part of. So we may be saying I love you, but we say it in different ways. And again, if we don't understand that, it can be a great source of tension. Let me give you 3 scriptures real quickly, 3 thoughts. Luke 11:17, Jesus said, a house divided against itself falls. It's impossible to disagree and succeed. When you have disagreement, chronic disagreement within a relationship, it won't succeed. That's why unity is essential. Second scripture, can 2 walk together unless they agree? And we need to first agree. Answer is no. You fight because you don't agree. Budgeting is a critical thing, not because of numbers, but because of values. Budgeting is talking in advance. It's not arguing along the way. Can 2 walk together unless they agree? No, you're going to fight the whole time. Why? Because you didn't agree. Budgeting is not a mathematical thing. Budgeting is a values and priorities thing. What do you value? Do you value go to Disneyland? Or do you value buying a new car? Or do you value going camping? Or do you value saving for college? Or do you value a new couch? What do you value? Because what's going to happen in the process of sitting down and budgeting is you're going to have a proactive conversation, a conversation in advance, and you're going to talk, not bully each other. You're going to pray and submit everything to God, and then you're going to talk, and what you're going to find out is we want to give. And that's our number one value. And then we want to take care of the needs of our home. And then we want to save for our children's education. And at the end of the line, what you have is all your values have been established. And you agree. Can two walk together unless they agree? No. But if you agree, you're going to walk together and have a great time. Karen and I never budgeted. We weren't able to talk about money. Here's the third scripture. Where there is no revelation, the people cast off restraint. Where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. You need to go on a vision retreat once a year. And this is, you can budget then if you want to, but it's bigger than budgeting. A vision retreat is where you go together and you pray about your children, you pray about your family, you pray about your relationship, and you get a vision for the next year for what God wants you to do. Where there is no vision, and that means spiritual revelation, the ability to see the way God wants you to see, people cast off restraint. You can't keep them together. But happy is he who keeps the law. Happy is he who walks in the will of God. And that's what it means. Chronic disagreement means you're fighting because you don't see eye to eye. You don't see eye to eye because you've never stopped and submitted to God and talked about the budget and talked about your vision and values until now you're able to walk together because you're both looking at exactly the same place because you've agreed. And so chronic disagreement just simply means stop. Don't be reactive, be proactive. There's proactive communication, reactive communication, and radioactive communication. You can be proactive in your communication. It's the very best way to communicate. If you're not proactive, you'll become reactive. And when you become reactive, some issues will become so radioactive you can't talk about them. And radioactive means somebody's going to get hurt if we talk about this anymore.
I hope you enjoyed that teaching, and that is from the full 10-part series called Marriage on the Rock. And I also have a book called Marriage on the Rock, and the most important message that you'll ever hear on marriage is called the most important issue in marriage. And I want to get you that CD. Again, what you heard on today's program is just a very small part of the full Marriage on the Rock series. And so the most important issue in marriage, I promise, the most important message that you will ever hear on marriage is that message. And we want to get you that for your gift of any amount to support us here at Marriage Today. For your gift of $50 or more, we want to send you the full CD series on Marriage on the Rock plus the Marriage on the Rock book. Your gift of $110, and this is very important now, the full 10-part DVD series plus the Marriage on the Rock book, plus our book, Happy, Happy Love, which is a romance guide that just kind of helps you to, on your date nights, to keep romance alive in your marriage. It's a fun book. It's really a great book to pull out every now and then and just look at it and get some fresh ideas to keep your marriage alive and to keep excitement and romance in your marriage. Now listen, this Marriage on the Rock DVD series for $110, plus the book and Happy, Happy Love. You can have a Bible study in your home. You can use this for your date nights. You can use this at your church. This is an important resource that really can save your marriage and change generations in your family. We want to get you this information. As you support us here at Marriage Today, we want to get this to you, and here's how you can get it.
Marriage on the Rock, the best-selling book and series, is the essential resource to having the marriage of your dreams. Through this power-packed series, marriage expert Jimmy Evans will show you how to deal with real-life challenges and offer easy-to-understand solutions that will transform your relationship. Jimmy will address all the major issues a couple will encounter, like communication, finances, sex, kids, his and her needs, blended families, and much more. For your gift of any amount, you'll receive the CD single, The Most Important Issue in Marriage. For your gift of $50 or more, we'll send you the Marriage on the Rock book and CD series. For your gift of $110 or more, you'll receive the book and DVD series, plus the Passion Reigniting Happy, Happy Love book. Discover God's design for your dream marriage. Whether you've been married for years or just preparing for the journey, experience Marriage on the Rock today.
today's show, we've been talking about finances, and Jimmy, I have a great question for you.
Okay.
I like to shop, but my husband always rolls his eyes and overreacts when I spend money. How do we talk about this issue? From Kim in Chicago.
Okay, so she says, I love to shop. Okay, we're going to remember that. Okay, that's number one. And then her husband's response to the shopping is, she says, overreact.
Well, he rolls his eyes.
And rolls his eyes, things like that. Well, let me say, it's obvious that they're not in agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me talk about two issues. One is budgeting, okay, because they don't have a budget. Or if they do have a budget, she's busting the budget, okay. The purpose of a budget, the number one purpose of a budget is to get us to proactively discuss things in our marriage. You know, a budget's not there to be legalistic and to control us. You know, we make our own decisions under God's authority. But a budget says we're gonna sit down and not just react the way that they're doing. Okay, and we've done the same thing now. So I'm not talking about Kim and her husband. But I'm saying, so we're not just going to react every time something happens. See, an example is this. This is a question that I talk about in the marriage seminars about money. How much can we spend without each other's approval? Most people find out that answer by fighting. Okay? How much can we spend? In pre-marriage counseling for many years, I would ask couples in pre-marriage counseling, okay, how much can you guys spend without talking to each other? Okay? And they would kind of like, what? And if they don't answer that question in pre-marriage counseling, they're going to answer that question by fighting later in marriage, and they may not ever be able to get a solution. So they would say, extremes, sometimes they'd say $1,000. I'd say, that may be a little bit too much. You might want to come down. And then the other one would say, if you're down at 7-Eleven buying a Slurpee, you better call me. You know, I want every little detail. And then they say, I think I want to be able to go down and buy a soft drink without your approval. So it goes to extremes. And then a lot of times that couples would say, $50, $100? Yeah, $50, $100. Yeah, okay. And they come to an agreement. When you sit down and discuss things proactively and come to an agreement, now you have a rule. And the rule says, it's a standard that you both agreed to. The standard says, I can go out and spend $50 on my own and not talk to you because we said we could, but I can't spend $200. So in this case, there are no rules. She says, I love to shop. Okay, well, you know, many people do. Okay, I love to shop. My husband overreacts. Well, what's he overreacting to? The shopping? A woman's going to shop, sir. I mean, Kim's husband, memo to Kim's husband, she's going to shop. Just get that. Okay. I don't think he has a problem with her shopping. I think in his mind, he's saying she's spending too much. Well, if you don't have a budget, how do you know? And he's saying, well, because we don't have the money. How do you know if you don't have a budget? So you sit down with a budget and you say, this is our income. This is how much money we have. Okay, we're going to stop reacting every time something happens because it just wears you out emotionally. Okay, and it makes you fight and it brings a lot of mistrust in the relationship. We're going to proactively discuss finances, and we're going to sit down with our limited resources because everyone has limited resources. We're going to sit down with our limited resources and we're going to talk about values. Okay. The issue of budgeting is not just about money. It's what do we value? Do we value giving to the Lord? I mean, because we do, Karen. You know, the first of everything we have goes to the Lord and has for many, many years. This is one of our core values of our marriage. So if we didn't go on vacation, we would give to the Lord. Okay, that's again,
absolutely.
Without any discussion, because we know this. Okay. Okay. So what do you value? Do you value owning a home, renting a home? Do you value private school, public school for your children? Do you value a new car or a used car? What is your value system? And because you have limited resources, you go down, then you get shopping. And Kim says to her husband, well, honey, I love to shop. And they say, well, we have limited resources. And then in the process of shopping, let's just say we're talking about something other than groceries, because groceries is obviously an essential. Her and her husband agree that Kim can spend $400 a month as discretionary money that they're going to put in an envelope and give it to Kim every month, and Kim can shop till she drops as long as she doesn't go over the $400. So now, she comes in the house at night and says, honey, look what I bought for $399.72. And her husband, she played by the rules, okay? She loves to shop. She got to go shopping. But her husband now cannot overreact if she keeps the rules. Without a budget, you don't know the rules. Mm-hmm. Because she lived by the rules, now she comes home. He cannot roll his eyes. If he does, he's breaking the rules because they made an agreement. She can shop, and her husband can know that he's not going to be violated by that. Budgeting is so critically important just for that reason. And we did this wrong. Everything I'm saying, we did it wrong, but we had to get to that point where we proactively communicated, talked about values, how are we going to spend this money, and we went down the list and we ran out of money. That was it. We were going to do this. We couldn't do anything else, and it worked.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So I've got a question for you.
Okay.
It says, Karen, my husband thinks he has to do the finances. The truth is, I'm just better at getting the bills paid on time because she pays the bill. I don't want to offend him. This is Sarah in Pennsylvania. Okay, her husband wants to do the finances. He doesn't pay the bills on time, and she's better at it. So what do you say to Sarah?
Well, I do like paying the bills.
I know, you do great at it.
I know, and so that's just not a problem for me. But, I think it's... I think we have to take our ego out of the situation. And I think that's what happens sometimes is we think the other person's saying or not saying, you're not good enough or you can't. And a legitimate thing is that probably one of you is better at it than the other person. And because I worked at a bank, it was easier for me to balance our checkbook. It was easy for me, even though you're excellent at, knowing what's in our account. It comes easy for me. And
you're good at it.
Yeah. And I think that the only mistake that you could make in a situation like that is not knowing what's going on. The husband should share openly the finances with his wife.
Right.
He should discuss it with her. He should say, hey, this is, da-da-da-da. What do you think? Bring her into it, even if he still keeps paying it. Part of it is just, feeling like, hey, we're a team here again.
Yeah, she may feel like she's doesn't have enough information. She's being excluded, but you are great at it, Karen, and I love you doing it. And you're not controlling of it, but you're good at it. And she says he's not paying the bills on time. Let me tell you, that's a bad deal.
Yeah.
And so if she's more punctual than he, you said it right, Karen. Take your ego out of it and just say, honey, you take care of it. Now we're going to talk more about this issue of money in marriage. We're going to take a break right now. The purpose of this break is we want you to become a partner with us here at Marriage Today. We hope that this program is a blessing to you. And if it is a blessing to you, we're going to ask you, stand with us monthly. We have monthly partners that give to us financially, and for their gift, they get a resource no one else gets. It's called our Dream Marriage Library. Karen and I are asking you to become one of our partners. Here's how you can do it.
Marriage. Family. This is the foundation of our society. But this foundation is under attack. Across the country and across the street, marriages are crumbling. Young men and women are questioning the value and purpose of marriage, and children are suffering the heartache of divorce. But regardless of how dark, how difficult it may seem, with the right teaching, the right training, the right commitment, every marriage has a 100% chance of success. Join us by becoming a rock-solid partner today. Together, we can help shape the future of marriage around the world. For $14, $28, or $56 per month, you can get the tools you need to succeed in marriage, including online access to the Dream Marriage Library, CD and DVD lessons shipped to your door, and exclusive partner perks. Become a rock-solid partner today.
Now, we're talking about the issue of finances in marriage, and sharing finances in marriage. What a huge blessing it is, finances in marriage, even though it can be a tremendous issue of stress if we don't know how to manage our money together. So we have some questions from our viewers. Karen, this is for you. It says, my husband quit his lucrative career for his dream job. He now makes half of what he did. Me and the kids miss our old lifestyle. And this is from Jenna in Arizona. That's a great question.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know that she's asking a question, though. I think she's just making a statement that, he has his dream job and we're missing out on, a few of the perks.
We're sure glad he's happy.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was going to say. If he's happy,
Yeah.
I think it should be the most important thing. If it makes him happy, and their marriage is still good, and the kids are still happy, the money is come and go. You can't base your happiness on money, and you shouldn't.
I have the highest respect for school teachers, policemen, military people. There are so many people that they do critical jobs for our society. They'll never get paid enough, and maybe that's his dream job. I don't know if one of those are his dream job. Firemen, just go right down the list. They're heroes. I mean, gosh, thank God for those people. And they're taking lesser of a salary that many of them would make. And I think if a man is a fireman, policeman, military, whatever, he comes in the house at night, I don't care how much money he brought home, that's a good man. Mm-hmm. And you need to thank God that you've got a hard-working, good man that does that. And it's not an issue of lifestyle, because he could be doing something less noble mm-hmm. and making more money. And I just think that she needs to be thankful. Now, at the same time, because she's not quantifying this, so we don't know how much his dream job pays. If it's like, making minimum wage or something like that, go back to your old job, sir, because it's not going to do. But what I would say is this to the husband. I want to have a job that's fulfilling, and I do, but I feel a responsibility to my family. And I think there's a real balance there. I think on her part, she needs to know that his self-esteem is very much connected to his job and what he gets paid, and to honor him. And I don't hear that she's not honoring him, but what I do hear in that is she's conflicted.
She's just missing out on the good stuff.
I think everything's relative. We know people with a lot of money, and we've been broke. We have been broke. And some of our best memories are when we were broke. I just don't, and money is a blessing. Without a doubt, money is a blessing. But Jesus said the deceitfulness of riches. He called, in Mark chapter 4, Jesus called the deceitfulness of riches. And part of the deceitfulness of riches is believing that if your kids had more expensive tennis shoes, they'd be more happy. No, they wouldn't. If they have God and their parents, they're going to be happy. Happiness comes from people and relationships. It doesn't come from things, even though things can be a blessing when it's kept within, its right parameters. And we're sorry that we're out of time, because great questions. This is a very, very important topic. We hope you're blessed in the area of finances and that you can manage that together in an intimate relationship that this program's helped. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Support Marriage Today with your best gift and receive the series Marriage on the Rock. Experience release and freedom from the pain of your past with the life-changing book When Life Hurts by Jimmy Evans. Visit whenlifehurtsbook.com. And don't forget, become a rock-solid partner and receive the Dream Marriage Library. There's a rock-solid partner level to fit every need.
This program is made possible by the generous support of our faithful partners.